Options. Who doesn't like options? I'm here to talk about the options available when facing a subject that we have no options about: death. Most of us will shy away from this conversation, but I ask that you open your hearts and your minds to hear what I have to say. In many circumstances, we have the option of experiencing a good or a bad death. We have the option of a good or a bad farewell. This doesn't mean fear, pain and grief will not be present. They are all part of the human condition. My name is Di Moore, and yes, it's Di Moore, and I'm a funeral celebrant, and I have a business called Leaving From Home. I'm also a hospice volunteer, and my goals are to educate and inform the public to plan well for the end of life, so that when someone is dying, caring or grieving, we all know how to do it well. To demystify death, dying and funerals by providing knowledge and service so we can do death well. To encourage a holistic, integrated approach to the end of life, death care and bereavement. 80% of people say that they would like to die at home, but only 20% do. Why is there a big gap? Because death is a taboo subject and we don't have the conversation about it. We are not prepared and we are not educated about our options. We let others make decisions for us as we are too ill or stricken by grief. So often death happens behind closed doors in nursing homes or hospitals, divorced from the normal routine of life, which perpetuates its mystery. Dying is almost an afterthought when medical options have run out or we've given up hope. Dying is a sacred time, as sacred as birth, beautiful and life-changing. But we must open ourselves to the possibility of transformation. For dying is a time to address regrets, fears, worries, and create a space of reminiscence, respect and care. I have no idea what's going on up there. There are options for those who wish to die at home. There are community services such as hospice, home care, silver chain, end-of-life doulas or midwives, family and community support who can help you to make this possible. These days we deal with death as if it is something to get out of the way. 3 days bereavement leave, then back to normal. We need to take back control of how we grieve, mourn and heal. People who have been involved in the death process and preparing the body seem better equipped to grieve and move forward. The paradox of death is that it sets things in motion even though the main player is a passive participant. Most people are unaware they are empowered both legally and logistically to be involved in the care of their own dead. We have made death very confusing. This is where options come into play and why we need to be prepared if we want to take an alternate route. How involved one gets is totally the choice of the family. So when someone dies at home, don't rush. There's no legal obligation to ring anyone. Once you call an ambulance or a funeral director, you lose the control of the situation. And if there are no suspicious circumstances, you need to call a doctor to have a death certificate written. Next, if we have not prepared alternative arrangements, we call a funeral director who will set things in motion. Options. Anyone can apply for a funeral director's licence, avoiding a stranger being involved and extra costs. You can take your time. Your loved one is removed to a morgue or a funeral home and left alone. Option. You can keep your loved one at home for up to 5 days. There are ways to keep the body cool, where you prepare their body, washing and dressing, them communicating in their own surrounds and with those who cherish them. You can purchase a coffin from a wide variety of pre-made and expensive coffins at the funeral home. Option. You can buy online and assemble yourself, decorating the outside as suits the personality of the deceased. You can use one made by the deceased or family and friends, any shape, style, etc. It must be made of solid material for transportation. The transportation of the body is in a funeral vehicle from the home to a refrigeration and then to a crematorium or cemetery. Option. The loved one can be transported in a coffin or a box in a private vehicle, once again cutting costs and personalising the situation. There are 2 options for disposal of the body. Bodies may be buried in allotted cemeteries and a special request can be made for them to be buried on a private property. Or the body can be taken to the crematorium by a funeral home vehicle, taken within the chapel where a ceremony takes place, and the funeral directors make all the arrangements at your cost. Option. The next of kin or executor of the will can apply to the crematorium for a permit. Cremations can be done privately and ashes picked up in 3 or 4 days. A funeral ceremony can take place anywhere as long as the body is transported in a waterproof coffin or box. There does not have to be a celebrant, a religious person present. It can be in a garden, a park, at home, at the beach, or in a restaurant. Your imagination is the only restriction. We've all been to funerals that didn't look or feel like the person being farewelled. What do you want for your final farewell? Where do you want it to take place? With whom? Cremation, burial, ashes, being spread, body, no body, just a party. A wake before or after you die? Let's start a conversation and bring death to life. It won't kill you.